then I decided. Then I went from there to the Department of Probation, working with juveniles.
Wow. Wow.
And I did that for 24 years.
Wow. Now, all of this basketball world and Stewart Granger, what was your family life like? I mean, it must have been, hard if you were moving around a lot. And when did you decide to settle down, and how did all of that factor into your life?
Right. So that was the first job when I worked at JCCA, because I worked there like 4 days and they gave you 3 days off.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's when I had my son, and I decided, whoa, they were getting bigger, but they see me, and I decided, something? Let me just make a change so I could get regular hours, and because they needed my attention too. But also the kids I was working with, they were kind of upset with me when I left, but they understood that I had to go take care of my kids because I used to bring my kids down there.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted them to see how other people live,
Mm-hmm.
in the residential. So, the kids was like, Granger, I know you got to leave. Go make sure you take care of them. So I know these kids needed love and attention. So I said, my own kids need love and attention too. So I decided, let me make a change.
That is just really interesting. And what was it like when you got the announcement that you were going to be inducted into the Canadian Hall of Fame, Basketball Hall of Fame? Did that come as a surprise? How did you feel?
Yes, because it's been a long time, and there was some politics behind that. And it was basically the people that were running, and there was only putting certain people in.
Mm-hmm.
No disrespect. It was a lot of prejudice. But, however, what happened was you got some good people that, was overlooking the whole program, and they came up and said, excuse me, why isn't Stewart Granger in there? And if he's not in there, guess what? We're going to start getting some lawsuits and all of this stuff and paperwork. And you kind of know the person, but I don't want to put his name out there, but maybe I could. It's, his father, his son plays for the Knicks. Okay, I don't want to put no names. His father played, yeah. His son plays for the Knicks, and he was in charge, and, and they was going to get a big lawsuit, and they was like, but how come no African Americans are not in there? And why? Y'all need stats? Okay. So when it came up, we overlooked this. Oh, I'm sorry. Next thing you know, they called me. And it was one of my good friends that was on my team, and he was also my roommate, and he was also part of the board. And he called me and said, "Those two, man, this is low. I don't know what the hell went wrong, and we don't know, but you're going in." And also Leo Routens was part of it too, and he said, "What's going on? How come Granger's not in there? Come on, first African American point guard ran the show, and why he's not in? Look at his stats: 20 points a game." 8 assists, 5 rebounds. He led the team in scoring and assists, and why he's not in there. So
that is interesting.
Yes.
So your time had come, and it must have felt great, to finally be acknowledged for all the hard work that you put in and the journey that you had taken to get to where you were.
Oh, yes, of course.
How did that feel?
Because when I went to the ceremony, I seen a lot of old friends, and I don't know if you know the guy in Toronto, the Arab guy that has he's always at the games. I took pictures with him because he's like, "Oh, great, I haven't seen you in a long time. You're a great player." So I was able to see a lot of people, and there was a lot of other people that said, "Wow, Granger, we've been hearing about you and watching you and doing all that stuff, and to be the first African-American to run a basketball team, because that has never occurred, never in their life. And you're the first one, and we look up to you. So I felt very happy that, and they acknowledged me on that too. So that's why now you see a lot of African-Americans, point guards are running, they're running the show in Canada.
Cool. You paved the way for them to be able to have that opportunity, and I guess that feels great.
Yes.
To know that you started that.
Yes.
Now, I want to go back to one thing. Your decision to go into working with kids, did it have anything to do with the police officer that assisted you when you were younger?
Somewhat, because I didn't want to be a police officer, and I wanted to try to give back. So I decided, something, let me do the juvenile. So they had me working. They wanted me to work in the field service unit because they really wanted me real bad. But then they had a program for kids. So I said, something, let me take the program for kids. So when I start working with them, the first thing I always tell them, please, do not respect me because I have a badge and gun. I could lock you up. Me for the person that I am, that I'm going to help you get through this stuff, get to whatever. And a lot of the kids really respected me for that, because I worked all the way from Lower East Side all the way to Washington Heights. I had the whole entire Manhattan.
Now,
and going through all these projects and meeting a lot of people, go through people's homes, and the family respect me. And I always gave them my word.
Wow. Now, the question is, do you miss playing basketball at all?
Somewhat. Because I did have an injury that I was playing on the hospital team, and I tore my ligaments in my left knee. But when that got better, I was still playing.
Mm-hmm.
But all the rah-rah and all the excitement, yes, I do miss that. Yep, I do miss it.
So now your rah-rah and excitement is with your grandchildren. How many you have?
6.
Six grandchildren, and are any of them involved in sports?
Oh, yes. They want to play. Well, I had them this summer for almost a month, and I had them playing in the park in the basketball little tournament just to do just drills and stuff or whatever. But they live in Atlanta, Georgia, so, they love football. So that's what they're going to turn to. They're going to be football players.
Okay.
And they enjoy the game. They actually, get on their phones, get people's stats. They can tell you anything about football. They always into it. So I think they're going to be football players.
Okay, that's cool. And you can take those same drills that you learned when you were, with basketball, and you can incorporate that into drills for them to be able to be quick on the field as well.
And that's exactly what I did. I took them in the parks in the morning time, and they did all the drills and, sprints and running around the track. They did all that. So they always call me to get, feedbacks.
Okay.
However, I'm the one that tells them, listen, I can only tell you to do A, B, C, but that's up to you. I'm not going to force you. If you don't do it, then you don't do it. But it'll be in your best interest, so you'll always stay ahead of the game.
Cool. Now, what's next? What's next for you? I mean, what is it that you want to do next?
I guess enjoy life and spend time with my grandkids.
Okay.
Try to, engage them in certain things, because I tell them about books, basketball, and babe. So I guess one girl was trying to talk to him. He said, baby, I ain't got no time. I got my books, my football, and I can't mess with you at this time. So I was like, wow, he's listening. You know? Oh, boy, I tell you. So I got to be careful.
No, go ahead.
I'm sorry for cutting you off. I got to be careful what I say to these young kids, you know?
Yes. Yes, because they take it seriously, you know.
Yes.
The other thing that I wanted to ask you, okay, it's 2 questions. If you could go back and tell your young self, based on what you know now, what would you tell your younger self?
Wow. Question. And I hate to look back and then do this, but what I do is more training, more discipline.
Okay.
You know, can't spend that free time just doing, you know, negative. If I had to do it all, I would stay away from New York because that's where you're from. If you go to another state and, you know, you just work out, it's a better situation. It's hard when you come back because people want to see you. They want you to do this, you know, and you have to stay focused.
The next question is, oh, no, you go ahead and you finish that because I want to make sure we get that.
Okay.
Okay.
No, it's okay.
The next question is, what advice would you give to someone who is looking to have the life that you lived, going to the NBA, traveling the world? What advice would you give them?
First things first, education is a must. Okay? You got to get that degree because no one can never take your degree away from you. But they could take your sports activities that you're playing from you, you know what I'm saying? So if you want to play in the pros, you can't play in the pros, they could take that away from you. But that education, can't take that from you. Cannot take it from you. And education is a must. And
I wanted to know, would you recommend that if you're going to get into major professional basketball, football, whatever the case may be, that you should take some kind of money management courses?
Of course. You know, if you're going to be a great player and you're working on your craft, that's part of your craft. You got to know where your money going. You know, you got to be the one that say, yes, I want this investment, or somebody just tell you, oh, it's a great investment. You don't know if it's great or not. You got to do your homework.
Okay.
You know, money's coming, money's going, yeah.
Okay.
Money coming, money going, you spend it, you're doing all this stuff, and next thing you know, you lost everything.
And what about friends? You know, how important is it to have friends? How important it is to have the right friends?
I'll tell you a quick story. I remember being on this team. I can't tell you who the person is, but we play the game the night before, whatever. We leave out early in the morning, so somebody ran over and tried to say, "Hey, can we have your autograph?" No, get out of here. So I was like, why would you do that? You know what I'm saying? Why would you do that? It's so crazy. But now I look back and say, okay, he could have did it or whatever. But you got to be careful who you're giving autographs to sometimes. You got to – it's so difficult. You know, you might be doing something and it turns out to be wrong. You take a picture with somebody. Now, but just remember, it's a different society. You take a picture, then all of a sudden they turn that picture around and they do all kinds of stuff. So, you know, a lot of players get very nervous. They don't want to touch nobody, you know. Mm-hmm. It's tough now. It's tough.
Mm-hmm. So you have to really, your circle of friends should be tight and they should be friends that you can trust, is what you're saying?
Well, okay, I didn't really talk about the friend part. You got to be careful because some of them could be your friend only when you do it good, and when you do it bad, they all leave you. Okay. You got that big entourage, and then next thing you know, you broke. Ain't nowhere to be found.
Okay.
nowhere to be found. And they, you know what I'm saying? So the ones that know that you broke